Please let my words speak for you, as I know that there is only one all-powerful, ever-present source of the energy that flows through me and through each person here. Deeply grateful for that energy, deeply grateful for the beauty that comes along with that energy, the crispness of the morning, when everything is just fresh and new. And so I'm taking the time right here, right now, to let go of everything that has come before, everything that has come after, and bringing myself into this one present moment. Take a deep breath in and release it. As I open my heart, I open my mind, I open my soul, and I prepare to listen to Reverend Diana talking about ever hopeful, ever great, faithful, and with myself, always great and grateful. Speaking my words into law and knowing that everything happens today with grace and ease, I say thank you, Father, Mother, God, and so it is.
So it is.
Amen.
Thank you, Lucinda. Beautiful opening this morning, as always. So I welcome you this morning, whether you're here with us in the space, online. If you're new with us here this morning, my name is Reverend Diana Johnson, and I'm the pastor and spiritual director for Mystic Heart Spiritual Center. We're an independent interfaith community, and we teach universal principles and practical spirituality. We hope that you come to know this community as your spiritual home or one of them. We might all of us have many places that we enjoy being. And may you be led home to the guidance and wisdom of your own mystic heart, because that's really where your answers can be found. So today's the first day of Advent on the liturgical calendar, which is the Christian calendar of feasting, fasting and feasting, and celebration. It begins on the fourth Sunday before Christmas and ends on Christmas Eve every year. So no matter the tradition you practice, this is a time of stillness. This time of year is a time of stillness, of quiet waiting for what is yet to come, for the physical light to return, and for what is to be born within us and in our lives. So in the spirit of Advent this morning, we'll be lighting a candle each week to bring our awareness to a particular quality of the divine, a quality that infuses many of the world's traditions and that we seek to embrace in our own lives. This week we light the first purple candle representing hope and faith. Thank you. If you're here with us all month, you'll note that we will have a number of celebrations this month. So each one will be pointed out on the appropriate Sunday. So I see hope and faith as two places along one continuum. Hope is a place to begin, a desire or an expectation of good. And faith is that deeper trust, or even you could say a knowing, that all is always unfolding for good, that everything that's happening is ultimately, in the long run, life-affirming, no matter the appearance in the moment. Hope can be looked at as a little more passive, a state of mind and heart, Faith tends to inspire action. So I invite you this morning to let your mind, your body, your soul be completely at ease. As we become still, allow ourselves to be taken into the meditative tone of Taizé this morning, allowing the words and the music as we join our voices to wash over and infuse us.
Welcome home to your mystic heart. Lay aside whatever came before. Let your own intuition spark to guide you to heaven's door. Welcome home to your mystic heart. Lay aside whatever came before. Let your own intuition start to guide you to heaven's door. To guide you to heaven's door. To guide you to heaven's door.
For the month of December, in my awakening.
Still my mind, be at peace. In my awakening, I release with my heart, free my soul. In my awakening, I am whole. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti,
Om Shanti, peace throughout the universe.
Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti. As I love and as I give, in my awakening, I choose to live. Give me strength. Shine your light in my awakening. Be with me tonight. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti. All I Shanti Om, Shanti Om, Shanti. Om Shanti Om, Shanti Om, Shanti Om, Shanti Om, Shanti Om, Shanti. Om Shanti Om, Shanti Om, Shanti Om, Shanti Om, Shanti Om, Shanti. One more time. Om Shanti Om, Shanti Om, Shanti Om, Shanti Om, Shanti Om, Shanti.
With gaze settled inward, grounding ourselves in the breath. Noticing any tension and letting it go. Letting yourself be fully held by the chair. Breathing in and then pausing and breathing out. And then pausing. Savoring the experience. Remembering that it is life breathing us. Grounded in this powerful presence, we enter into sacred ritual. We form and hold a powerful vision. As we continue in the flow of meditation, we acknowledge our connection with all of life. Seeing with the inner eye, sense with me now a global web of consciousness. Each of us a point of light. All connected across the planet, like the net of Indra. All beings who in this moment are sitting in meditation or prayer, or attending their own sacred services, all of us acknowledging the presence of the divine, consciously connected by our common purpose, feeling the collective intention that brought us here, feeling the deep communion with that which is greater than we can ever know or understand, and feeling the impulse to grow and evolve that's awakening within us. And now expanding our awareness and sensing that same light shining in and from every human, no matter what they may be doing this morning. And then moving beyond our human family, we acknowledge every creature as an expression of light. Every plant, rock, grain of sand, the soil beneath our feet, the water that feeds all of life, the clouds and heavenly bodies, all expressions of one light, all expressions of one life. We know that there is no separation between us. We feel our inherent connectedness. As one human family, We acknowledge our personal responsibility and our role as caretakers in sacred service to one another, to all life forms, and to the planet that sustains us all. Grounded in our oneness, we acknowledge this season of peaceful waiting, an important capacity if we are to find contentment in our lives. And yet, there's more than one side to waiting. One that is patient and open to what is trying to unfold, and one that is more closely resembling procrastination or avoidance or taking the path of least resistance. Let us take an opportunity this morning to ask ourselves a couple of questions, taking a moment of silence with each one. Is the apparent path of least resistance really the easiest in the long run? And now inviting divine guidance from within to speak to you personally. Is there something I've been putting off? Something I could do to make my life richer or more peaceful? Something I could offer to make the world just a little more beautiful? Something either small or large. If you find that there is, then this morning's topic serves as our final question for contemplation. What am I waiting for? the season of Advent offers us an opportunity. It invites us to pause, to take a breath, to become comfortable with not knowing what lies ahead, with admitting that we never know what lies ahead. To accept that we cannot know how our lives or the world would be different if we were to take that leap of faith, make the change, offer our gift.
Most of us don't wait very well. Raised in a culture that values instant gratification, we have become impatient. We dislike the uncertainty of waiting, the lack of stimulation, the loss of perceived control. We use phrases like, "I can't wait," but we can, and we do. Waiting is part of the human condition. But waiting is a uniquely human phenomenon. With the exception of domesticated animals, nature never waits. Wild creatures use every bit of their time. They graze, they hunt, they interact, and they rest. There is no expectation that others will fulfill their needs. In nature, there is no boredom, no anxiety. Waiting confronts us with the unknown. How long we'll have to wait, what we are missing while we're waiting, what we may find when it's finally our turn. We cannot actively engage in our goal. We're on hold. We feel stuck, powerless. And it seems and feels as though there is absolutely nothing we can do about it. At the root of our dislike of waiting is the human desire for closure. We need to know how this episode ends. We need to tie up the loose ends and move on. Creatures in the wild have no such need. They recognize no episodic endings. Each moment flows into the next, content to live in the great mystery. I invite you now to reflect on your own tolerance for uncertainty. Does lack of closure cause anxiety or irritation? Or can you, like the wild creatures, simply allow what unfolds and flow into the next moment? In our 3 minutes of shared silent meditation this morning, let us contemplate the nature of living in this great mystery. What would it be like to release our need for closure? To admit that control is just an illusion? To absolutely trust that the divine always guides us and protects us? O Great Spirit, infinite consciousness that gives rise to all creation, thank you for this sacred time of self-inquiry, this communion with you and with my spiritual siblings in this beloved community. Thank you for the courage to fully participate in this great mystery with faith that you are always guiding me from within. Waiting can leave us helpless unless we actively engage in it. Like musicians counting empty measures or hunters sitting still and alert, we are instruments of the Creator. Or as William Booth, founder of the Salvation Army, said, I am not waiting for a move of God. I am a move of God. As Taizé continues this morning, we receive Reverend Diana's inspired message eagerly. And as Advent calls us to be patient, we participate fully in this time of waiting, not anxious, but ever hopeful, ever faithful.
The first week of Advent, we give attention to what it means to be ever hopeful and ever faithful. So what do we mean by hopeful? Having a desire, a wish, an aspiration, or an expectation that something will happen. Hope is a state of mind and heart, and it is passive. And what of faith? Our faith is what we know to be true. It is our deepest held beliefs in embodied form. It is what we live from. Faith is an active force, not merely a static set of beliefs, but a dynamic and emergent spiritual process. When practiced consciously, faith is a powerful and active force for good. True faith is alive. The season of Advent, of waiting for the light to return, of knowing that the light of Spirit is forever shining within us, invites us to consider and contemplate the divine qualities required to make that leap of faith. The qualities of integrity, presence, honesty, compassion, humility, surrender, gratitude, and a real and abiding faith in a powerful and mysterious presence that is so much bigger than we are. We close our Taizé in prayer and musical meditation this morning. So sinking into the presence of the one great mystery, I go within, present to what is here and now, mindful of the many blessings of this life, the blessings of this very moment. Ever hopeful and ever faithful, I give thanks for the deep knowing that there is only one source of all of life, a source of order, timing, and intelligence that goes by many names, but that I can place my faith in. I know that I am a perfect and intentional expression of that divinity, as is each one here. For there is nothing else I could be. And I trust that my life is forever unfolding as a perfect and intentional expression of God in form, so that it might experience its life as mine. I have faith, and I choose to consciously place that faith in the Spirit.
I have faith, I pray faith, I choose faith, I am faith. I have faith, I pray faith, I choose faith, I am faith. I have hope, I pray hope, I choose hope, I am hope. I have hope, I pray hope, I choose hope, I am hope. When I trust and I let go, I know all is well. I have love, I pray love, I choose love, I am love, I have love, I pray love, I choose love, I am love, you are love, we are love, all God's children are love, you are love, we are love, all God's children are love. When I trust and I let go, I know all is well. When I trust and I let go, I know all is well.
I give thanks for this time of remembrance. It serves as a touchstone, a reminder of who and whose I am. I give thanks for this blessed day. I give praise for all that is, has ever been, and will ever be, knowing that Spirit is now and forever turning all things to good. In closing our These this morning, I know and fully accept the graceful unfolding of my word in form and experience. As I know that a prayer imagined and spoken and deeply felt is a prayer answered. And so I release it now to the power and presence that I call God, simply letting it be. And together we say, and so it is. Amen. or aho, or satu, whatever is your preference. So bringing our awareness back into the space this morning, taking in whatever is before you. What a beautiful family we have. This is one of your support systems, should you ever need anything. Good morning. People came in while we had eyes closed. Nice. So as we close Taizé meditation, we offer the opportunity for you to share of your financial good in support of the work that we're doing in the world. And if you're joining us online, you can go to mysticheart.org and you'll find a donate button or a mailing address. We are an independent, self-supporting organization, and your financial gifts are what make it possible for us to do our work and provide this beautiful and safe space for all of us to gather. So we thank you in advance for your gifts. We acknowledge and give thanks for the infinite abundance of spirit as it moves through this space. So as we honor the spiritual practice of circulation this morning, please enjoy Matt Maher's song, Let There Be Peace. Only place it can ever start, right? So we say thank you for these gifts, knowing that they come of spirit through your hands, through your heart, through your lives. And they flow into and through this community where we can grow them and expand them and then give them back. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you to each one. And so it is. So 2 quick things, since some of you may or may not be here after the conversation. Just a heads up that April Jimenez is presenting her 4th in a series of Sacred Wheel workshops on Way Out a Ways, January 18th. But we're announcing it early because we're selling tickets for this one. It will include a cacao ceremony and the workshop portion and a lunch. And so we're selling tickets in advance so that she can plan appropriately for materials and food. So we have tickets today and here forward if you're interested. The other thing is that we are engaging in the 12 Days of Kindness actively, and so this week and next, if you'd like to bring in hats, gloves, and or any even gently used sweatshirts, jackets, coats. We had a huge donation this morning come in the door. Thank you so much. And then the final week, we'll invite more coffee packets and hot chocolate and all that. And a group of us are going to come together here and bake those cookies to put in. And on the 15th of December, after lunch, we will gather together and put our packages together. This year, rather than going out as a group because of the change in climate, not weather, but the climate around the unhoused, we're going to invite anyone who wants to take several of these packages into your cars with you. And as you move about your life and through town the last couple of weeks before Christmas, if you see someone who looks like they might benefit, just having a gift to offer for the season. So, all right, and with that, we invite you, after we sing you on your way with a soul's blessing, to either go about your day with our blessing or to gather some coffee or tea or something and come back for our conscious conversation at 10:30.
May your soul always find what it's looking for. May your heart always lead the way. May you live in peace and harmony. And may love always fill your day. May your path be strewn with happiness. May success find you everywhere. May you always embrace compassion and grace, and may God always answer your prayer. May you always embrace compassion and grace, and may God always answer your prayer.
Thank you for being here with us. Have a beautiful day. The bulletins are new for December.
And on that note, knowing that there is one, one source of all that I see, all that I experience, all that I do. And I am deeply grateful to know that that source, the energy of that source, runs through my veins, through my life, and through the lives of each and every person here. And so with deep, deep gratitude and knowing that each person here will receive just that one little seed of thought that Reverend Diana is so good with, and that I am so grateful for, I say thank you, Father, Mother, God, and so it is. Amen. Ashe.
Ashe.
Aho.
Aho.
Sant.
Satu.
Santu.
There's always Selah.
Selah. Oh my goodness, I want to learn them all.
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways to say, so be it. So it is. Good morning. Well, it looks like the sunshine has called some people outdoors, which is fine, as it should be on a rainy, rainy day, or a week, I guess. But I'm glad that we are together this morning. If you are new with us online, my name is Diana Johnson. I'm the pastor and spiritual director for Mystic Heart Spiritual Center. We're an independent interfaith community, and we teach universal principles and practical spirituality. So we welcome you home to the guidance and wisdom of your own mystic heart. We hope to help point you back to yourself. So this morning, as we begin our conscious conversation, let's join our voices in some more upbeat music. And if you feel like you want to get up and move, feel free. I can't ever keep still. Here, why don't we tambourine it this morning?
Welcome to the Mystic Heart. Join the celebration. Lift your voice and sing your part. Make this affirmation. Spirit made us family with loving hearts to share. Together we are joyfully practicing the possible through prayer.
And everything's possible
So
through prayer.
welcome to the Mystic Heart.
All right, here we go.
Everybody get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Everybody get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded of who we've come to be. We are love, we are one. One big family. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Hey, 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 hey. Everybody get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah.
All right, for the month of December, we're going to practice some release and letting go.
I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life. And my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. And I'm free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only
That's
here
it,
for
right
God.
there.
I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light, and I'm free in the Spirit, and I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God.
Moment to feel the presence of Spirit in the body. Know that it is the Spirit that breathes us, moving through our bodies in the oxygen and the blood flowing through our veins. Get a felt sense of that presence. And bring that felt sense into our sacred practice of visioning for a love-soaked world, where all humans are embodying and living from their highest selves, their deepest wisdom, their most generous and loving nature, honoring and caring for one another, caring for every creature, every living thing, caring for this beautiful planet that is our home. So feel and know with me a world where all needs are met, where all beings have plenty of nourishing food and the safety and comfort of home. A world where mental, physical health and education and healthy relationships are ensured by social systems that are grounded in wellness and wholeness and integrity. Where all beings work and play at what feeds their soul and are well compensated for their service. This is a world in which all beings are valued and respected for their inherent goodness and light, where authenticity and vulnerability are not only welcome but celebrated, where the peace that we cultivate within us shows up as a world free of hatred or violence. Feel and know with me a world where greed is no more, where there is abundance in having enough, where generosity is the norm, where every being receives all that is needed for a full and rich and contented life. By the power of our collective intention and our powerful imagining, we are writing a new story. We're creating a world that works for all beings. We know that our good work is bearing fruit. We pay no mind to appearances, knowing that all is always being turned to good. We walk in gratitude and respect and humility and reverence as we recognize the sacred in everyone and everything. There's a general sense of thriving. Authenticity is valued, vulnerability is celebrated, and it is good. We've come to understand that it is through our hands and feet and hearts and voices that positive change happens. So we choose to align our actions with our vision, living these changes first in our own lives, within our homes and our families, with our neighbors, within our communities. And as we do, a new world is being born, one small community at a time. As this paradigm for living changes, this community stands as an open and welcome place for all who seek support, belonging, and a sense of family. By the power of our deep faith, our clear vision, and our inspired action, this prayer is acted upon, answered even as it is spoken. So feel it with me now, the full acceptance of its reality, and with the deepest humility and gratitude, we release our word to the great power, the great mystery. We release this word now to the one that gets it done, and together we say, and so it is. Aho, whatever your preference. Selah. Amen. Amen. I know that one. So take a minute and bask in that. How does that feel?
Feels yummy.
Just hanging out in that feeling and that knowing, that reality that is unfolding. I invite you to try it every day. You can actually find different versions of this as it comes out differently from month to month online. You could use it as a prayer. It's really powerful. So if you were with us at Taizé this morning, you know that our topic of conversation for the month is, what are we waiting for? So it's the month of Advent, the time of patient waiting. It is the month of waiting for the light to return. In different traditions, there is the focus on the movement into darkness and the return of the light. And so this morning we looked at a couple of different sides of waiting, how it reminds us that we never know what the day or the week will bring. We never know what the future is going to bring us. How it helps us to learn to be more comfortable, become more comfortable with not knowing, and with accepting that we don't have a clue what's going to happen. We just don't. We like to feel like we have a plan, and I'm not saying that's not important, but attachment to that plan can create some real upset. Willingness to flex with what Spirit has in mind for us is a really important thing to learn to do. So this time of waiting can allow us time to process. If we have something we're waiting to make a decision on, or to a change we're getting ready to make, gives us time to process and to pray, to connect with our source, to seek inner guidance. And it can encourage us to practice patience and surrender and humility, gratitude, a whole array of positive qualities. And we talked about how we can use this view of waiting as a cover story. As an excuse for not changing. We can hang out in the waiting period for the rest of our lives. Maybe it's just me that has gotten stuck in that cycle.
Yeah, someday I'll.
Someday I'll. I like that. It can serve as an excuse for not making a change, not moving forward, not doing something that we know we should do, could do, not offering a gift to the world that we kind of sense is ours to do. Waiting for clarity can actually become an excuse or a barrier. So our theme for this week is ever hopeful, ever faithful. And I'd like to suggest that many of us spend more time grounded in hope than we do in faith. And both are, I'm not downplaying either one. They both have a place in our lives. I see them as two ends of one continuum, where hope is a place of beginning, a place to begin to have a heart and a mind wishing to have something happen, or keeping ourselves lifted above the darkness in hope that a new day will dawn, or in hope that things will be better. Whereas faith, hope is a little bit passive, where it's heart and mind oriented. There's not a lot of action often. And faith is more of something that is a deep knowing, a trusting, and it tends to inspire us to action. Because faith, if we're in faith, we're not in fear. If we're in hope, we can be very fearful and hopeful at the same time. But if we're in true faith, we're not in fear. And so there's no fear about taking a step forward. At least this is my theory. You could be on another page altogether, which is absolutely fine. Sometimes hope can lead us to take the path of least resistance and less action, while hoping things will change kind of on their own. If I just wait long enough, things will shift. And sometimes they do. Faith means believing in goodness unfolding enough to take a leap when the time comes. So I'd like to go back to some questions that I asked to start with some questions I asked and allowed time for contemplation this morning, but now I'd like to have some conversation around them, see where it goes from there. I didn't write a lot of stuff other than a few questions this morning. Leave it free flowing. Sound okay to you?
You're pointing
I haven't
at
asked a question yet, but go ahead.
Well, yeah, I wanted to mention, I'm a kind of a word guy.
Yeah.
And you said a little bit earlier, you used the word striving.
Uh-huh.
And that denotes an action, taking a step. And I thought to myself, well, striving, I guess that implies a little bit of force. But then I remembered the word striding, which is similar to striving, but it's also an action where you're stepping forward. And as I thought about those words, I realized both of those depend on a sense of balance as well as movement forward. And I liked the striving, and I took away the you must do part of it. And I like how that action implies I'm striving for my own expression of who I am at, who I am,
Right.
where I'm at.
So you're just seeking to become.
Indeed,
In that
and it's an
sense.
action.
Right. Very active.
And that just sort of stimulated my thoughts because I hadn't really, you don't think about things sometimes very deeply, and striving is just one of those things I hadn't thought too much about. But I had an issue with it, striving to succeed, and the responsibility of that. Well, what about just striving to just be my authentic self?
Sounds like a good plan.
That's my
Sounds like a
comment.
great place to start. Thank you.
All right.
So first question that I have written down here is the apparent path, and I say apparent because we don't know for sure, path of least resistance always the easiest path in the long run? So what do I mean by the path of least resistance?
No, it's not.
Okay.
The reason I say that is because it looks good, but once you're on that path, often there are regrets.
Okay.
There are, well, if I'd done it the way I knew I should have done it,
Mm-hmm.
it would have been more fulfilling. I would have had this other outcome.
Okay.
So this taking the path of least resistance is just kind of sliding through life without
Okay.
connecting.
So that's what makes it look good to you, look easier.
Well, it looks easier, but that
Yeah.
doesn't mean it would be fulfilling.
Right. Okay. Other?
I see path of least resistance sometimes being avoidance.
Okay. Sometimes it takes the form
And
of
so
avoidance.
If I choose to avoid, and then discernment would come in.
Mhm.
But avoidance oftentimes brings more pain than joy.
Okay. Avoidance can bring more pain than joy. David?
Well, speaking from an electrician's point of view, it means that it takes less energy to move, consumes less energy to move.
Right.
And so, electrically speaking, it's more efficient,
Okay,
but I'm assuming there's more than one way of looking at resistance.
I would say there probably is, yeah. So yeah, so it seems most efficient in an electrician's world, in that. Chris? Oh, sorry, Chris, and then Chris.
Yeah, I think we're conditioned in this society to look for shortcuts.
Okay,
You know, how can I get from here to there with the least amount of effort on my own behalf? And again, that takes the striving out of reaching your goal.
okay.
But it also, for me, it depends on where the resistance is coming from.
Okay.
Because sometimes the resistance is because we're trying to do something that's not really the highest and best for everybody concerned.
Mhm.
And so we run into some, some spiritual law kind of obstacles.
Right, thank you. Chris?
I was just thinking about what you said about hope and faith.
Mm-hmm.
Hope is like in your mind, you're thinking about ways to get there or shortcuts to get there.
Right.
If you're in faith, you already know it, so it's going to unfold in front of you. So you really,
Right,
if you just be in the moment and allow it to happen, it's
yeah.
usually less resistance.
Right. So being in that place of hopefulness creates the potential for challenges to creep up and different things to happen, whereas being in faith and just knowing in the moment opens the space for whatever it wants to unfold. April?
Well, I do believe in work smarter, not harder.
Mm-hmm.
But that's different than, but the path of least resistance, I think a lot of times we are kind of seeking to avoid conflict or being uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, around that, I'd rather go for, this is also the microwave age where we want everything as fast as possible with as little
Right.
work. But and it's choice. It's what you want to develop within yourself, right?
Right.
So there is a lot of experience to be gained and knowledge and wisdom through going through the uncomfortable challenges and
Yes.
overcoming or not overcoming, and then thinking how you can overcome in the future. And
Mm-hmm.
it just kind of depends on what experience you want. But
Right.
when you get to the end, for me, I'm thinking the person who went through the most windy road is going to have a lot more stories to tell and a lot more knowledge to apply
Right.
in the future. This one might still have some
Yeah.
lessons to go back and learn.
Yeah, we build our muscles by using them, right? And we build that muscle of resilience and strength as a human being by going through things that make us use our spiritual muscle, our emotional muscle. Mark?
And if you do any kind of physical therapy and you're trying to build your muscles, you start with the least resistance and then you incrementally go forward, and the more resistance that you allow yourself to get used to, the more you're building muscles.
Yes.
And I'd also like to comment that if you think of the path of least resistance as being almost a geographic reality, like, for example, a level plain, that's like a desert. And yes, you can walk much more distance, perhaps, on a level plain, but it gets kind of boring, doesn't it? And so we need little hills to climb, and it helps with our perspective when we get to that top of that hill. Notice I didn't mention mountain. We're going to get there later.
We'll get there later.
But yeah, it's good to have that variety and to test yourself. Again, it's all about what you can handle. And as you get bored, you want a little bit something different and exciting, and so nice to be able to say to yourself, I'd like to climb that little hill and see what it looks like from up there.
Right.
And with practice and faith, and I liked your comment about hope and faith. That's a good one. You need both. And I guess hope has got to be there. to stimulate the faith
Right.
that you get to. So it is
Yeah.
on a continuum, you're right. And I just think that that's what we're here for, to test ourselves, to retain that balance, to move forward in our development, and with perspectives, we can do that.
Thank you. Yes, Chris?
I had another thought about path of least resistance, and if one is on a path of least resistance, it's allowing the divine unfoldment, which makes you have to be more flexible and aware. So it's another way to look at path of least
Right.
resistance, which I hadn't thought of until
Yeah.
just now.
Yeah, the being present in the moment and allowing to unfold could be seen as the path of least resistance in a more absolute way. How many folks tend to view it and use it is what seems the easiest right now in the moment, that makes me least uncomfortable in the moment.
I
That's how
don't disagree.
it tends to be used in that very relative sort of way, rather than the absolute. David?
So would that be the decision whether you use the microwave or the oven?
Could be.
Because, I mean, you know, they might both be putting out the same amount of energy,
Yeah.
but one method is different than another.
Do you want the baked potato faster, but like rubber, or do you want it?
Yes.
I'm sorry, my view, sorry. Go ahead.
Chris made me think too about who's offering this resistance.
Huh?
So, you know, different things, but can it be also looked at as path of least resistance from me?
Yeah,
So
oh
am I not the one causing the resistance and then just going along with whatever is coming up in front of me?
yeah.
Is it something coming into my life in front of me offering this? It can be looked at in many
Yeah.
different ways. Could it be beneficial to stop resisting and just go along with the
Right.
flow, or
Yeah.
you know, how much am I adding to that?
Right.
And in hope and faith, man, you know, I always relate things to what I do all the time, right? So yesterday, 2 in the morning, I'm freezing in a concrete box, looking for ducks in the sky. And let me tell you, if you have ever been outside still before dawn, you have experienced ultimate cold. It's like a painful, your hands won't do what you want them to do, everything hurts, right? You're just like shaking, you can't stop, and you're looking at the skyline. And you know, you have faith that sun is coming up, right? And that your situation will change with that event. And faith says it's coming, but hope keeps you shivering until it does.
And I'll say one more thing.
One second, I have a hand over here, Lucinda.
good.
I was thinking in terms of sometimes there's something that you know you need to do,
Mhm.
but you don't want to. How many times have I known that I need to go talk to somebody about something, I need to do that.
Right.
And yet, it would be so much easier to just let it go and continue on my way. So sometimes it's more a thing of which way is gonna be most standing in my own
Right.
integrity.
Yeah. And will the universe, seemingly, will the universe allow you to go forever not addressing something that you're intended to address?
Not lately.
Not lately.
Yeah, so the word resistance popped into mind as I'm contemplating what that does for us. As I said before, it helps with development, but it also helps with learning. And sometimes we're afraid to try to learn something we don't know.
Right.
We hide behind, oh, I don't know, and we find some bit of solace in that ignorance.
Yeah.
Don't want to learn too much, but it helps with your development. So resistance to what you need to learn is going to keep you from ultimately getting that lesson at the end of the learning.
Right. Thank you. And I'm going to pivot us to another question real quick. We've already kind of covered what I had written next, which was why do we choose that path? We've had a whole bunch of that circulating. I'm going to go more to within yourself. Is there something that you are putting off or have been putting off? And the way I voiced it in Taizé was maybe something that you could do to make your life richer or more peaceful, something you could offer to make the world a little more beautiful, something small or large, something that is a gift that's yours to share that you've been holding back for some reason. Even a tiny little, a phone call you should make to wrap up something, or is there anything in your life that you're aware of that really ought to be happening, and you know that? I mean, the should on yourself is not, we don't do that. But we all know when there are things in our lives that ought to be, that we are in the way of, and that are trying, I'll just leave that are trying to happen. Anything come up for anyone? And you can share, or just say yep and not share. Or
Fear
fear.
stops a lot.
Well, fear is one of the big causes why we don't do those things. So I take it there is something, and you don't need to share it, but fear is what gets in your way when that happens.
Well, I ain't copying to that, but
Okay. I thought you just did, but that's okay.
well, it just seemed that way.
Okay. So I'm the only one in the world that
I'm
ever
gonna
puts
say
anything
yes,
off.
not want to share.
Yeah, we don't need to share those things if we don't want to.
My garage comes to mind.
Our garage does come to mind.
Your
Say
garage
the
came
word
to mind.
procrastination.
Procrastination, yes. Okay.
I'm not an amateur procrastinator. I'm a
I'm
pro.
a procrastinator.
I like to think of it as dragging my feet.
Dragging my feet. So the next question in Taizé to contemplate was, well then what are we waiting for? And we can or don't have to answer that too.
Inspiration.
Inspiration. So that's interesting. So where does this inspiration come from? If we're waiting for it, and until we have it, we're not going to take a step, where does that inspiration come from?
I think it comes from the faith in the belief that it is possible.
Okay? Faith in the belief that it is possible. So that means we won't take a step until we are solid in our faith in that belief. Okay?
Sometimes,
Mhm.
for me, I have to wait until I feel ready,
Yeah.
right? But then it starts with the thought of like, yeah, I should do that. And then I check into that and see, is there a lot of resistance into doing it in this moment? Am I ready to undertake? When it comes to like a task, right?
Mhm.
So maybe my other half is like, why don't we organize this stuff? And I'm like, because I don't want to do that right now, right? That's okay.
Right.
And when I do feel like doing it, I'll put the whole half a day aside and we'll get it done because I feel like it. But that has to do with me understanding that if I do it when there's a whole lot of resistance in me,
Mhm.
it's going to be a completely different experience for everyone else around me than it is going to be when I'm ready to do it.
That's true.
But you also have to put aside time specifically in the future to do certain things and then do them on that day, right? So there's a lot of action in my readiness,
Yes.
but the action has to take place at some point.
Right.
Otherwise,
13
the
years go
nagging
by.
will never
Yeah.
stop. So you have to get
Right.
it done.
Yeah.
The garage, the storage unit, eventually you got to get
Whatever
it
it
done.
is.
Yeah.
All right. Chris and then Mark.
I think, where does the inspiration come from? I think that's what Meister Eckhart was saying when he says, the moment we take one step toward God, God takes 3 steps towards us, or something like that. He said it
Okay.
better than I did. But I think we show God we're serious by doing something, to go get that inspiration.
Right.
And then listening for guidance as we're starting the best we know how.
Other teachings would say that this is a responsive universe. And when we act, the universe responds to our action, corresponds to our action. There's a law of correspondence at work. So if you're not comfortable with the God language or whatever.
Yes, I would agree, and I'm thinking hope is like the genesis of this inspiration. The word inspiration means the Spirit comes in and gives you that, it multiplies, generates that hope, and it multiplies it and gives it substance, so that then you have a constant kind of, I can do this, because I've seen it.
Yeah.
I can manage this. I can walk from here to there without falling. And so inspiration, I didn't think of it when I mentioned that word, but inspiration helps me to feel confident in what I'm doing.
Right. Nice, thank you. Yeah, breath of spirit, breathed by spirit, inspiration. April?
Manifesting things is all good and well. You also have to put in the footwork, right?
Yes.
So I was just sitting here thinking about like our 12 days of kindness. It started as an idea, and at some point, the first pair of socks arrived. And once the first pair of socks was physically in the space, it opened up, and we ended up with like, what, over 100 pairs of socks the first year, 150 pairs of socks the next year, and we thought this idea of we'll try to reach 50, and it started with one pair of socks, and then off it went. But that first action often sparks the universe's reaction, and things can become so much more than you even imagined.
Yeah. Thank you. And we have a whole bunch that showed up today in all kinds of forms. We'll talk about that toward the end of the service. It's looking really good. So there are a couple of kinds of waiting that we could compare to each other. There's passive waiting and there's active waiting. What's the difference between passive waiting and active waiting, in your view? Cinda?
Passive waiting is sitting there and waiting for inspiration to come to you. Active waiting is going out and looking and see what it is. So that, you know, I mean, a lot of times something will jump up and say, hey, I'm it, but I have to be looking for it to see it.
Okay. Thank you. Chris? Yeah, I just wanted to be sure I was going back and forth, but there's no hands up over there, so go ahead.
There was an example, I actually used it in the meditation in Taizé, but I found it online, and the writer was making the analogy of a music, like a symphony orchestra musician, especially the percussionist section. You can have 80 measures of rest, and then come in for ba-ba-ba-ba-ba, and then you're out for another 60 measures or something like that. But, you know, the musician is counting those rests, and he's engaged with the music the whole time.
Yeah.
You know, he might not play for a 20-minute stretch, but then he has to be right there, or she has to be right there when that measure hits. And so that person is actively waiting rather than, you know, sitting on their thumbs, as this phrase goes.
So active waiting points to an engagement with what's happening as we're being still and open and watching and listening. But we're attending, we're engaged. Whereas a passive waiting can be just a, you know, I have this hope something will happen. I'm not really paying attention to what's unfolding, but I am sitting still, and maybe it'll happen at some point. David?
So that would kind of mean that you're mindful while you're in that
A
moment.
mindful waiting.
Yes.
Yeah, attentive.
But that mindful waiting, I think, requires faith. And faith is also confidence. Confidence in the ability.
Yeah.
So faith and confidence are very similar.
Right.
Because if you're confident, you're able to know your part once you recognize it as you're being mindful.
Yeah. The word confident breaks down to mean the state of being with faith. So that's what the word parts mean. With faith, doing something with faith. Michael?
That's exactly what I was gonna say. Like, you pray for something, and then you're doing active waiting in faith.
Right.
That those prayers will happen.
Yeah. And we even teach, we don't so much pray for something, but we pray something. We pray as something. We pray it unfolding. So we're actively praying in our active faith that it is already unfolding. That's our form of affirmative prayer.
That it's already here.
That it's here in spirit or in potential, and that it is unfolding for the highest of all beings, which may not look exactly as we want to see it happen. Sure.
I requested a prayer from Diana a couple weeks ago. My grandson got kicked out of his apartment in Colorado Springs, and nobody could reach him. Very next day he called me, let me know he was okay. And that's what will happen. It's going to be done.
It's always, yeah.
It was already done.
It's already done. Yeah. Mark.
I'd like to comment that I'm still thinking about hope and faith, and it occurs to me hope is like a seed, and when it is given water to grow with,
Right.
it becomes a process that you have faith will arrive.
Yes, and it's the
will
active
unfold.
engagement we're talking about that waters that seed.
I was walking out to my mailbox the other day and noticed all the grass leaves that are coming up, and that was just a bare bit of ground the other day, and so like little did I know there was all those seeds waiting to be germinated, and there they are.
Get your weed
And
whacker
so-
ready.
Yeah, that's it.
April?
I was trying to think of, passive waiting, and then when Chris said that, it reminded me when I was probably like 9, for like 5 minutes, we went to this Lutheran church, and I was in the Christmas bell choir.
I love bells.
Well, we were doing Carol of the Bells, but every child only had one note.
Right.
Right, so it went dun dun up dun, and you waited for your one time to go, Mad, right?
Yeah.
So my only job was done. Right? So not only did you have to practice for that, you had to be super ready, and you had to trust that the other person was going to go at their time, and be waiting for the cues and the signs that it was going to be your time to dong, and how nervous I was that I was going to miss that, and how very engaged in that waiting at that 9 years old waiting for your dong, and that's a great example. Music is a great example of
It is.
engaged
I played
in passive
handbells in
waiting.
my early college
that's a
life, and it's
vigilance.
true. But by college we had 4 notes that we were responsible for.
Dun dun dun.
Right.
But it's a vigilance.
But you cannot take your eyes off of the music. For
No,
a
you got,
second.
or you'll get lost.
You'll be gone. Yeah. Chris, did you have a hand up?
I just said vigilance
okay.
is,
Yeah. So something has happened just recently that happens every 4 years in our country. We've had an election, and no, we're not going to talk about outcomes or any of that. But no matter which cycle of the election it is or has been, once there is a decision made and there has not yet been a transfer, we are in a period of waiting.
Limbo.
So as a nation, as a world, we're waiting right now. So how appropriate that this during Advent season, this time of patient waiting, that we are actively engaging in waiting just nationwide. So do we know, not even just this year, but any year, do we know that whatever decision that's been made will impact us directly?
No.
We don't know that.
No.
Do we know that it won't?
No.
No.
Do we know that it will impact our city or our state or our country directly?
No.
Do we know that it won't?
No.
What do we know?
Nothing.
Nothing. That was like always.
I know
Any
nothing.
circumstance, we don't know anything.
The gospel according to Sergeant Schultz.
Right.
Yes, I know nothing.
We all believe that, we have beliefs about, opinions about, not just in politics, but everything. Don't we have opinions about everything?
Oh,
I
yes.
know, I do.
Opinion free.
So, based on today's meditation and conversation, what is our best course of action moving forward, just using the political spectrum with no flavor painted on it? But what's our best course of action between now and the time of the transfer of power? Yes.
Joyful anticipation for good to
Joyful
come.
anticipation for the good to come.
Please, God.
Remembering that we make our own choices for our lives no matter what's going on outside.
Okay, so we make our own choices for our own lives no matter what's going on. And we go here and then back here.
Just letting it go and then let it be and not worry about it.
Yeah,
It'll all work out. We
Letting
don't
it
know.
letting it be, not worrying,
Mhm.
trusting.
Just, I know that God is my source and my supply.
Okay, I know God is my source and my supply.
I'm just gonna go ahead and keep on living my life every day the way I always do.
Yes.
And not worry about it. But if something does come in front of my face, react to it accordingly if
Yeah.
need be. But until then,
Right.
no bother me.
So active waiting, active, peaceful, joyful, grateful waiting is a really positive stance to hold. Okay?
So, I look at it like there's only one thing that can change, and that is you.
Right. The only thing you're in charge of
Right.
is you.
And then two little creatures in there.
And, well, maybe if you're a parent, the little creatures that you're in charge of right now. But even that, you don't, there's always times where
You
they
just
do
do your
things you
best
would
to
prefer
keep
they're
them
not doing.
alive.
Right. Yes. So is there anything else that wants to be spoken?
I would suggest that it's a good time to practice your resolve toward optimism.
Okay. Great idea. Practice your resolve toward optimism.
And
The
that
change you
requires,
wish to see.
Be the change you wish to see.
and that requires managing your own little demons.
And that requires managing your own little demons. Yeah. We all have them. Bob?
Believing in the best outcome of things and not dwell on the negative outcomes.
Right.
That's me.
Yeah, keep your attention focused on the best possible outcomes and then without attachment, paying attention to what's unfolding. But our thoughts and our words are creative, they're powerful. If enough people get together around pessimism or some kind of negativity, that energy is being created.
Yes.
So just remember that as we move through our days. Anything else that wants to be spoken before we wrap up here? All right, then I'm going to close us in prayer. Inviting us to settle in, ground, take a nice deep breath. Sinking into the presence of the one great mystery. Grateful for the awareness that it is a mystery, that we really don't know anything. Present to what is here and what is now. Mindful of the many blessings of this life in this moment. and the blessings that are present throughout every day. No matter what else going on in our lives, the blessings are there. And so ever hopeful and ever faithful, I give thanks for the deep knowing that there's one source of all of life. And that source is a source of order and timing and intelligence. It is a source of love, of peace, of compassion. And it goes by many names. But by whatever name I call it, I know that I can place my faith in it. In him, in her, in them. It is dependable. I know right now that I am a perfect and intentional expression of that divinity, of that one source, and so are you. There is nothing else that we could be, if that's all that there is. And I trust that my life's forever unfolding as a perfect and intentional expression of God, taken form so that Spirit can know itself as us. I have faith, and I choose to consciously practice that faith from moment to moment. I give thanks for the remembrance that this is so. It serves as a touchstone and a reminder of who and whose I am. I give thanks for this blessed day. I give praise for all that is, has ever been, will ever be, knowing that Spirit is forever moving all things to good. I know and fully accept the graceful unfolding of my word in form and experience. And I know that a prayer imagined, felt, spoken is a prayer already being answered. So I release this prayer right here and now to the powerful presence that I call God, Spirit, the One. And I just let it be, as together we say, and so it is. Amen. Nice. Good discussion again. They seem to just, I don't know, I enjoy them. I hope you do as well. We all offer so much wisdom to one another. It's so nice to share that wisdom in this space, to have a place to bring our own personal paths and traditions and ideas together to be shared. I think that if the world, as the world, not if, as the world brings forth more and more spaces, bridge building spaces like this, the more peaceful the planet will become. So thank you for helping in doing this work. It's important stuff. So every Sunday we invite you to join us in celebration of the work that we're doing here by sharing of your financial goods, should you choose to do so. And we do this in both services, not so that there's any expectation, but some people are only here at the beginning and some people are only here at the end, so we offer a couple of opportunities to do this. If you are online this morning, you can go to mysticheart.org. You'll find a donate button or a mailing address that you can make use of. And we just remind you that we are an independent, self-supporting organization, and your financial gifts are what make it possible for us to exist, for us to be here, and for us to provide this beautiful and safe space for this sort of a bridge building activity. So we thank you so much in advance for your gifts, whatever form they take. We acknowledge and give thanks for the abundance of Spirit, for the one source. And we engage in this practice of, sacred practice of circulation. And as we do that, we're going to invite you to consider this very important holiday question. So one thing you can count on is that you never know what you're going to get when you walk through the door. Come on up, Lucinda, for the blessing, and then I'll do the invitations today because of so many new things.
So one thing I always know heading into the holiday season is going to be interesting. And for that I'm grateful. No one likes a boring holiday. So right here and right now, I just stand in this moment to say thank you for all of the gifts that are being given, will be given, and have been given to our home. Thank you for this place where we can come and meet and laugh. And thank you to each one for the gifts of money, time, talent, energy, everything that you give. And so I just say thank you, Father, Mother, God, and so it is.
And so it is.
Amen.
Welcome, Kainoa. You going to sing with us as we close our song and get ready for lunch? All righty. Let's close with our love be with you.
All together, hand in hand, we see the light, we take a stand, and we are changing. A whole new life for you and me. Take your past and set it free and share this blessing. Love be with you, peace enfold you, spirit lift you, breathe it in. Truth come through you, make it flow to you. Let joy renew you until we meet again. Love be with you. Ooh, 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 love be with you
Until we meet again.
Ooh, love be with you. Ooh, love be with you.
Now breathe it in.
Ooh, love be with you. Ooh, love be with you.
Until we meet again.
Ooh, love be with you. Ooh, love be with you.
Now breathe it in.
Love be with you.
We love you. Thank you for being here. Hope you join us in our Thanksgiving leftovers lunch.
I have faith they will.